crafty people. Come on in and let's find out which craft we're doing today.
Today's craft is card making. I have 2 birthday cards that I need to make because the birthdays are right around the corner. So without further delay, let's do it. So for this card, I want to create a watercolor type effect. So I'm using Tim Holtz Distress inks in the colors of Stormy Sky and Hickory Smoke. I'm putting the ink down on my glass mat and then spritzing it with water. I'll take the watercolor cardstock, put it face down in, and let it absorb the colors, kind of smushing it around. Then I'll do some drops, water drops, and smush that around again until I get the look that I'm going for. Now for this card front, I want to create a sort of a 3D effect with a frame. So I'm taking 2 border dies, a medium size and then one that is 2 sizes down, and I'm going to line them up and make sure that everything is equally spaced between the 2. Then I'll run them through my Sizzix Big Shot Plus and set them aside. Next, using my MISTI, I'm going to take the card base and stamp the inside sentiment. After I have it spaced where I like it, I will ink up the stamps and then stamp them over and over until I have a clear, readable image. Now I need to determine the placement of all of the items that I've created. So off camera, I cut out the word birthday and the shadow of the word birthday. And I'm going to use some washi tape here to hold the card base down to my glass mat while I position things around. Now I'm not securing any of this right now. I'm just trying to figure out where am I going to place the sentiment for the outside of the card as it relates to the positioning of the word birthday. So I'm going to use a trick that I learned from Kathy Zilski. If you're a card maker, you know who she is. If you're thinking of getting into that craft, please check her out. She's amazing. So I'm going to use the score buddy and push the card base and the frame up into that upper left hand corner, and that will line them up perfectly. This is another trick that I learned from Kathy, is to, when attaching something with foam tape, put a little bit of liquid glue down there. What that'll do is give you a little bit of wiggle room. Like if you don't have it on there, then that foam tape will stick almost instantly. But with that liquid glue, you see I have a little bit of time to kind of move it around. Now I want to adjust where the word birthday is going on the front because I need to add the sentiment. And I'm just going to move it around until I get the layout that I want. And I think I'm also going to add some gems to the bottom of this card underneath the word birthday. So I'm just going to line all this up, and then I'm going to pick up those stamps with the MISTI and ink them up and stamp out the sentiment. Now to finish off this card, I'm going to add just a few gems down at the bottom. So I want to make sure that birthday is up high enough that I can add these gems. I'm just going to add 3. I want to still keep this card masculine, so I'm not going to bling it out. But I do want a little something, down there. So I'm just going to position roughly where I want birthday to go, and then I'm going to add these 3 gems, and I'm just using the T-square ruler just to level them. I'm not using it for the spacing. I'm just going to eyeball that. And then once that's done, I'm just going to apply glue to birthday and tack it down. And here's the finished card. Now for my next card, I have a 3D embossing folder with 2 dies that allows you to cut out 2 of the flowers on this card. So I'm going to start with pink cardstock because that's going to be the base color when later on when I go to color them in. And I'm just going to run this through, cut them out, and in that process, to me, it looks like it flattened them a little bit. So I'm just going to put them back into the 3D embossing folder and run that through one more time just to liven those flowers back up. Now I also want to add some butterflies. So I'm using some dies from the Tim Holtz collection, and I'm going to use yellow and black cardstock for these butterflies. Now the yellow of course is going to be under the wing, and I am going to use some Copic markers on the butterflies and the flowers. So with the base color of the cardstock, I want to add some variation to the color of the wings. So I'm going to use Copic markers Y17 and Y19. And I'm going to start with the darker color first, and then I'm going to blend that out with the lighter color. And what I like to do is start where the body of the butterfly is and then work outwards towards the wings. And here you see I'm just checking to see when I lay the black layer of the butterfly on top what it looks like. And once I'm happy with the effect that I'm seeing, then I'm going to glue using liquid glue the black part of the butterfly down to the wings. Now for the flowers, I'm starting with the pink color of the cardstock, and I'm going to add Copic marker color R81 and RV34. And what I like to do here is take the darker color and outline the grooves, and then also color on top of the raised part of the embossed petals. And then I'll come in with the lighter color and go over them and sort of blend them outwards. And I find that this gives me a nicer look because it looks like the center of the flower is darker, and then as it opens, the petals become light. Now to create the front panel, I have run another piece of cardstock through the 3D embossing folder, and then I used the Lacy Point Frames die set to make the front panel smaller than the card base. And I'm going to color in the leaves of just one flower using my Copic markers G24 and YG17. Now I'm going to color in the leaves, but I'm going to try and leave the little dots and grooves of the Lacy Point die frame set. I'm going to try and color around those. So when you're looking at this, you're going to see that the leaves might look a little bit crooked around the edges, and that's because I was trying to just not color that frame over. To color it, I'm going to follow my usual process and just go back and forth between the darker color and the lighter color, and putting more of the darker color in the grooves of the leaves and around the edges, and then blending out again with the lighter color. And I'll just go around until I have all of the leaves for this particular flower colored. Now for the card base, I'm putting it in my MISTI, and I'm going to use the Hi There Greetings stamp set from Kathy Zilski. And I'm going to position my greeting inside, again in the middle towards the top, so that I have room for the name and then a message at the bottom. And this greeting just says, "Love ya to the moon and back." So once I have everything positioned where I want them to go, then I'll just ink it up and repeat the stamping process until I have a nice, crisp, clean image. So to assemble everything on the panel, I'm using these thin 3D foam squares. I've glued the flower directly to the cardstock, but I want the butterfly to look like it's flying toward the flower, so I want it to be raised up just a little bit higher. And I also want the happy birthday banner that I die cut to be up a little bit higher as well. Now I don't want them up too high because they're going to go on the card base, and then they still have to fit inside the envelope. Now I just need to attach the panel to the card base. Since I recently stamped the sentiment on the inside, I'm just going to use a scrap piece of cardstock here so that I can prevent the ink from transferring to the front side of the card base. Looks like I used this piece of cardstock previously for some Easter cards. Anyway, I'm going to use the technique again here where I'm putting foam strips on the back, and then I'm going to add a little bit of liquid glue so that I have just a little bit of time to reposition everything. And I'm just going to stamp it down. Well, crafty friends, here is the second card. The first one is already in the mail, and I'm going to put a picture of it right here so that you can remember what it looks like. But I think my cousin is really going to enjoy this one as long as I can get it to her. So I hope you enjoyed watching me make these two cards, and I hope you come again to find out which craft am I going to do. Oh. Bye, crafty people.